So, Kyle, what advice do you have for people who are comfortable doing a prepared presentation, but not so much an impromptu speech? In fact, uh, to do an impromptu speech, if somebody said to me, "Well, you have to get up and just say a few words," I would probably panic.
Mhm.
That sounds like absolute hell for me. So, what advice would you have?
Impromptu speaking is all about, and speaking in general, is all about trusting yourself, believing that you will find an answer regardless of what comes your way. And I think the best way to practice impromptu speaking is to have a Q&A section in your presentations. So if you're currently doing presentations, you can dip your toe into the pool of impromptu speaking by just having a 5 minute Q&A. See what questions come your way. And you'll probably be an expert on that field. I hope that's why you're speaking in the first place. So those will be questions you can
Mhm.
answer, which aren't really high stakes. And if you want to really push yourself into the pool further, you can start looking at things like I did, like impromptu comedy. Because if
Mhm.
you can, yeah, yeah. So if you can actually be funny spontaneously, if you can learn to do that, every other form of impromptu speaking becomes easier. So I'm giving you kind of two
Yeah.
extremes here. Dip your toe with including a Q&A, or dive right into the pool by doing impromptu comedy. That will nullify any fears because you will realize, and they will teach you how to do it, that there's a formula behind impromptu speaking. There's a structure behind impromptu speaking. It's not actually that impromptu. And just to give
Mhm.
you one system, for example, what a lot of people say is go with past, present, future. So let's say I get Peter. Give me a topic for a second here. Anything at all. Give me anything that comes to mind.
Well, we were talking earlier, the Northern 500.
Right, the North Coast 500. So in the past, I've heard about the North Coast 500. I've watched the videos. I've seen all this great stuff online. It looks phenomenal. It looks like an amazing road trip around the top of Scotland. Presently, I'm preparing for my North Coast 500 trip. We want to do it next year. We're planning out the route. We're getting our stops in place. So in the future, when we do that trip, it's going to be marvelous. It's going to be a holiday to remember. Past, present, future. That's something that you can use for any topic that
Mhm.
comes your way potentially. So there's systems behind these, and learning impromptu comedy and also doing the Q&A are great ways to begin that impromptu journey.